I didn't use social media for 2 months and I'm not going back. Around 2 months ago, I was reading a novel set in the 80s, and one thing struck me. The character's life felt so different from ours and so much more meaningful. They weren't constantly checking their devices or scrolling their social media feeds, because there were no smartphones back then. And while being in a beautiful place in the nature or maybe a cool restaurant, they weren't thinking about taking a photograph of that place and putting it into their social media. So also their perception of everyday events was different, because they didn't filter their experiences by how would they look like in the social media. Instead, they were doing things that now feel special, and back then it was normality. Like gathering at dinners for real conversations, listening to radio shows together, reading novels and newspapers, or simply sitting on their porches watching the world go by. It hit me because their lives seemed so much more present and meaningful. So I decided not to use social media for at least 2 months. And what happened next surprised even me. Did you know that many of the CEOs and engineers that created social media don't allow their kids to use it? It seems obvious, for example, for a tobacco producer to not allow their own kids to smoke cigarettes. So is social media as bad as smoking? Well, maybe. The people who design those platforms, so people that exactly know how they work, know firsthand how addictive and harming they can be. And that fact alone should tell you something. Social media are very often advertised as places where you can connect with people, and that they were designed exactly for this purpose. And it's of course not true, because they were designed to earn ungodly amount of money. It was designed from the ground up to be addictive. The more time you spend scrolling, the more money they will earn by showing you ads and collecting some information about you. So an unethical premise sits exactly at the core of these platforms. They were never meant to serve you. They were meant to consume you. As Johann Wolfgang von Goethe famously said, "No one is more a slave than he who thinks he is free without being so." Imagine eating McDonald's every day. Of course, we all know it's unhealthy. And not just a burger here and there, but eating it every day. So every day filling your body with processed foods, which is of course very unhealthy. Empty calories and too many calories, artificial flavors, and so on. And you may not feel the damage right away, of course, but over time it will be impossible to ignore. Your energy dips, your mood declines, and your body becomes dependent on low-quality sustenance just to function. Now, when someone came to you and said, "Hey, I feel terrible because I eat McDonald's every day, but I have an idea to take this vitamin that will make me feel better," you would probably tell them that they are missing the point. The real solution isn't to supplement junk food with supplements like vitamins. It's to stop eating garbage in the first place. And that's exactly how social media works. It's junk food for your mind. Every scroll, every like, every notification is designed to just give you this one small dopamine hit, keeping you hooked, but without actually nourishing you in a meaningful way. But just like with junk food, you don't realize how bad it is until you decide to step away. So what happens when you quit? At first, I won't lie, it feels slightly weird. You reach for your phone out of habit, because it's a learned compulsive behavior. Well, at least for me, because I used to consume social media every day. But only to realize that there's nothing to check, because the apps are blocked. You feel a strange sense of emptiness, like you're missing out on something. But then slowly something magical happens. You will simply get used to it and instead do something else than checking your phone. If you are tired, you can just sit on your couch and listen to music, radio, or something different. Of course, I was also able to read much more because of that, as one of the things that improved was my attention span. So normally I read a lot because that's partially my work. But because of this detox, let's say, it's actually much easier to just take a book and start reading. Because if the only choice you have is just sitting in your room or reading a book in your room, then reading a book seems much more interesting. And not only that, because I think that my writing style also improved. Maybe because the information flow that I take is much slower now. And my free time now feels much more fuller and deeper than it was before. So I read that taking a new habit usually takes around 2 months for your brain to, rewire. That's why I chose 2 months. And I need to say that many things improved, like my creativity, my attention span, or the way that I conversate with others also. which is pretty wild because my mind now is much less distracted. And you know, everything needs time. So I started to see improvements after around 1 month. At that time also I didn't have this compulsive behavior of constantly reaching for my phone. It turns out that when you stop feeding your mind junk, it actually functions better. I felt much more in control of my mind. And most importantly, I realized how much time I was wasting before. And of course, it's not only about productivity, so shifting the time that you spend on your work or the time you spend resting. I became more productive. That's true. But the main difference is how I choose to spend my free time, which became much more meaningful than it was before, which has of course many mental health benefits. And one thing that I was worried about, but I'm not actually anymore, was whether I'm not missing anything on social media, like cool pictures that my friends posted somewhere, or maybe my friends aren't hearing that much from me anymore. But that wasn't true, because I stay in touch with my friends on just regular communicators like Messenger, for example. And what about social media trends? Well, I'm not interested in them, simply. I don't care what is viral at the moment, because it's not important. The real world, the physical world is much more important. To be more aware of your surrounding and to enjoy experiences much more. And this new awareness brought with it an unexpected feeling. Freedom, not just from the endless scroll, so the compulsive behavior, but from the constant need to document, share, like, and perform my life instead of living it actually. And now it feels really weird to observe other people in the morning commute when they are just staring at their phones, almost mindlessly, and not aware of their surroundings. It's good to abstract from your own behavior and to observe that in others and realize how weird it is. It's just amazing how much mental space can open when you are not constantly thinking how it frames in the social media context. It's no surprise that social media is making us miserable, us as society. And there is a Jonathan Haidt's great book called The Anxious Generation, which was published in 2024. And this book presents an overwhelming amount of evidence showing just how damaging it has been, mainly for the younger generation. Since the rise of smartphones and social media, rates of anxiety and loneliness skyrocketed. Young people are more socially isolated than they were ever before. Their ability to focus has diminished, and their real-world interactions have suffered. But here is what is even more disturbing. Studies now show that heavy social media users have brain patterns similar to drug addicts. The same reward pathways, the same withdrawal symptoms, and the same inability to stop knowing it's harmful. We are literally rewiring our brains. We are literally rewiring our brains, and not in a good way. But to a large degree, we can rewire it back, thanks to brain plasticity, so the brain ability to restructure. And to do that, of course, you need to stop using social media and experience some unwanted results, at least for first month or two. But here is what's even more troubling: the divide it's creating. Look at what the children of wealthy are doing. On many occasions, if they have private teachers or very good schools, they will learn classics, philosophy, and Latin. They are engaging in deep thoughts and preparing for a future with a sense of intellectual discipline. Now look at the children of the poor, or just normal people. They are usually glued to their smartphones, and they are using their smartphones or other devices without parental guidance, endlessly consuming empty entertainment. Because, they're kids. They don't yet have a strong will and the knowledge that it's harmful to them. And because of that, they are becoming passive spectators in their own lives. And this isn't just about addiction anymore. It's about social control. While most of us are caught in endless scrolling loops, a select few are building real knowledge, real skills, and real power. The digital divide isn't just about technology. It's about who controls your attention and what you do with it. So again, talking about being a slave, but not a slave to only technology anymore, but to the people that are controlling this technology. So we should stop eating garbage and start nourishing us with real food if we want our health to become better. So why do we treat social media differently? Why do we try weak solutions like digital detoxes or screen time limits when the real problem is the thing itself? The truth is, the only real solution is to step away, and not for a day and not for a week, long enough to see the real result of not using social media. At least a month, but 2 months sounds better. So long enough to actually see what it's doing to you. And once you do, you may not want to go back, just like me. Because when you think about it rationally, there are no good real reasons to use social media. Usually just garbage content without any meaning. Not my content, of course. And remember those people from the 80s novel I mentioned? They weren't missing out on anything. Instead, they have something we have lost. The ability to be fully present in their own lives. To enjoy experiences without the compulsive thought of sharing them. To find entertainment and connection in ways that didn't leave them feeling empty. Maybe it's time to learn from the past and build a better future. A future where we don't allow our kids to play with smartphones without any limits. And you are using social media because you want it and not because you just can't force yourself not to do it. Let me know in the comments what do you think about it and how much time you spend on social media normally. And of course, let me know if you tried something similar, so not using social media for some time. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, don't forget to give me a like and a subscription if you want to see more videos like that in the future. Thank you once again, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.